UK government has done a lot to cut down migration numbers. I mean, it's been from one immigration change to the other and imposing several restrictions on various visa categories and so on and so forth. I made a story about how the government has made a policy change or addition to aim at preventing some set of migrants from obtaining British citizenship. And in today's video, we are going to see how another set of migrants in this particular visa category is going to be affected because the government plans on imposing some restrictions on this particular visa category. Please watch this video to the end because you would want to stay informed, and also share with others living in the UK or planning to come to the UK so that they can equally stay informed. Also, like the video as you are watching so YouTube can recommend it to as many as possible. As I said earlier, the UK government is bent on cutting down immigration numbers drastically because in recent times the number of migrants that have moved to the UK have been significantly high, and this has posed as a worry to the entire country. And so the government is doing everything it can to bring down the numbers, and we can see this from every immigration policy that is coming up from now onwards. We can see that there has been various restrictions on various visa, and now the next visa category to be affected is the graduate visa, also known as the post-study work visa. So the graduate visa is a type of visa that allows international students to stay in the UK after graduating to work or to look for work. So this is the category of visa that the government is planning on imposing restrictions on. So let's see what it says. Foreign students without graduate job could be forced to leave the UK. International students who do not secure graduate jobs within 2 years of finishing university could face deportation. So what it's saying is that if the student finishes their studies or graduates, the person has to get a graduate job, not just any job. So you have to get a graduate job to be able to keep staying and working in the UK as an international student that has graduated. If you switch to the graduate visa and you are here within 2 years, you have to find yourself a graduate job, not just any job. The government's upcoming immigration white paper is expected to set out proposals to force overseas students to leave the UK unless they get a graduate level position in a bid to tackle the nation's rising migrant numbers. Wow. It's saying if you're on this particular graduate visa category, it means that you should get a graduate job. Some students have complained on how difficult it is to secure a sponsored job in the UK. You have to be within the UK to get that job, and it's usually very difficult to get a sponsored job in the UK. Most students have complained, and so some of them are willing to take up lower levels of jobs to rise through the ranks just to sustain themselves or to be able to stay, live and work in the UK. And now this is what the government is going very hard on, saying that you cannot go in for that lower ranking job to rise. You have to be able to secure yourself a graduate job. Some are saying even with a lower level ranking job, they tell you you are overqualified, and with the graduate jobs it's usually, unfortunately, we can't hire you now, unfortunately you didn't make it. And so many students are being frustrated, and it's going to be tighter on both sides, right? The government side and then the job side, and the students in the middle. You are going here is tough and then here is tough, and it's like if you do not get the graduate job, you have to leave the UK or you would be deported. Although graduates can stay in the country without job for up to 2 years after completing their studies, they are likely to face tighter rules as ministers aim to reduce net migration by limiting visa options. Yeah, so that's it. They are putting more restrictions on this visa option. So within 2 years, if you are not getting any job, you have to decide to leave by yourself or you would be deported. And this is really tough because if you have been following the trend, the study visa category face so many restrictions. Before, if you are an international student coming in to do your master's, you could come with your dependents, your spouse, your children, but that was scrapped off somewhere last year by the Conservatives. If you were coming in to do your masters, you can no longer come to the UK at all with your dependents. This was somehow an incentive for people to even come to the UK at all to study or think of coming to the UK to study. Aside the fact that UK is one of the leading countries when it comes to education, is top notch, and so people come because of that, but also for the incentive that they get aside coming, because coming to study in the UK it's not cheap at all. If you pay all that money and then you do not get better incentives, why would you want to use that money to come here? Why wouldn't you go elsewhere that you get better incentives, right? And so the lack of bringing independence saw a huge decline in foreign students coming to study in the UK. And now that is saying that you have to secure yourself a graduate job within 2 years or you'll be deported. It's another incentive going down the drain for students. And so many students will also decide against coming to the UK because of this restriction. Now, responding to the reports, University and College Union General Secretary said, this threat to further restrict international students' ability to live and work in the UK when higher education is already on its knees is bad for the sector, bad for the economy, and bad for our standing in the world. The University and College Union are really alarmed because from the restrictions that were put on the study visa routes from last year, where international students coming to do their masters could no longer break dependence, saw a decline in students coming to study in the UK. And that also meant there were not going to be influx of monies that came along with international students, because studying in the UK is not cheap at all. Students pay a lot of money, and so this also contributes to the economy and contributes to running of the various universities. And so if they have seen a very huge decline in these numbers, then it means the money that they use to run their universities is also going down, right? After this decline, we also read that the universities had to lay off staff because they couldn't keep up. And so now this fresh restriction is what they are worrying about, and they are saying that it's going to be very bad for the education sector and it's going to be bad for the economy, bad for our standing in the world, because UK universities are usually seen as one of the best in the world, and so many people like to come, and also because of the incentives that they've put on visas that people can access or the benefits that people get from coming to study in the UK. So many people come to the UK. If these restrictions are put in, you are going to see a further decline in students coming into the UK. Higher education is still one of Britain's last world leading sectors, and after years of Tory decline, Labour should be doing all it can to protect the sector, not engage in these acts of sabotage. So then the University and College Union is seeing this as an act of sabotage. They have said that the Conservatives last year had sabotaged this sector by putting so many restrictions on the study visa category, and now that there is a new government in power, they should be looking at how to revive it and not also go down the lane of the Conservatives by sabotaging this sector. We need bold leaders for the UK's higher education sector to thrive in a globally competitive environment. This means abandoning the previous government's hostile environment policies, which threatened our ability to attract and retain international staff and students. As I said, there has been a huge decline in the number of students that come to study in the UK, and also they are saying staff. They had to lay off some staff, and some will not even be interested in coming to work in the education sector anyway if they are going to be met with so many restrictions, right? Net migration reached an unprecedented 728,000 in the year leading to June, primarily due to a rise in non-EU citizens. Ministers aim to reduce this figure to pre-pandemic levels, targeting between 200,000 and 300,000 annually. We understand that migration has been high, and that the government is trying to protect its citizens by cutting down migration and protecting its country. We understand that. But then putting so many restrictions on this visa might not just let the universities get as many students as they will need to run them, right? The migrants make a huge part of the workforce in the UK, right? What the government, I think, should focus on is trying to reorient its people or the citizens to take up these jobs, or offer free trainings, more incentives, salary increments, all those things to entice people to want to take up those jobs. And then obviously, if those jobs are filled up, you wouldn't get any employer trying to outsource or trying to get a migrant in to come and work. I would want to know what you think. Let us know in the comment section, because I think that this white paper that is about to come will have some major changes that will be very harsh for migrants. I don't know, but let's wait and see. A Home Office spokesperson said, Our upcoming immigration white paper will set out a comprehensive plan to restore order to our broken immigration system, linking immigration skills and visa systems to grow our domestic workforce, end reliance on overseas labor, and boost economic growth. We are not getting into a running commentary on what will be contained in the white paper. So yeah, the Labour Party is going in hard. The UK government is going in hard on migration. We haven't even seen the last of it yet. Let's wait till this white paper drops and then we know exactly the plan that they have for cutting down immigration. But then I wish all those in this category all the best. I hope that this white paper will not have severe restrictions that will blow our minds. We've come to the end of this video. My name is Philomena, and on this channel I talk about motherhood, lifestyle, living abroad, and general inspirations. So if you found this video insightful, do not forget to like and share, and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video. Bye.